All right, cool. Welcome back, guys. It's After 7 podcast. You know what? Since Gina left, we haven't done the intro.
OMG.
So, as you are the female in the room,
Oh.
do you mind giving us a little intro?
An intro.
An intro. It don't have to be the intro.
Oh, okay.
It could be anything you
Oh
want.
no, but I'm gonna feel like I have to do the intro, but then I don't want her to cuss me, so
No,
I'm not
she
gonna
ain't
do
gonna
the
cuss you.
intro.
Go on.
Like she's taking my word. What do I say? So welcome, guys.
Anything.
Welcome. It is Meet Us After 7. I am Heroine, known as La Sainte Heroine. Yes, we are here with. Introduce yourself.
Jason, Mr. Vibes.
And
And you know who the fuck I am.
the one and only.
All right, hold on. Applause. There you go. Welcome back, guys, to Meet Us After 7. This is episode. What number is this? This is episode 269.
Oh damn.
Welcome back. Before we start, just apologies for anyone who was offended by last week's episode.
I haven't
You ever listened to it?
I haven't finished listening.
I've seen a few
I saw tweets though.
negative comments, centered around, I would say male chauvinists and toxic. What's the word? Toxicity.
Toxicity.
All that stuff. I don't think it was that bad.
To be honest,
I didn't feel like it was that bad
Brent,
either.
did you
And
think
I'm
it
a
was bad?
woman. I don't know. I wasn't
Did you think it was bad?
hugely offended.
I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Listen to being in the room. I didn't think it was bad until I started to see the comments and the
to be honest,
tweets.
I'm gonna, as you said, I'm gonna listen this because I miss.
Yeah.
Like, I've been on my recovery, so I haven't had time to listen to podcasts.
Male chauvinists rise up. But yeah. Also, someone said that. Let me ask you actually. Does Emily to you, and Emily, don't be offended, this is just something that someone said. Does Emily come across as a pick-me?
No.
Okay. Brent, do you believe Emily come across as a pick-me? Someone said that.
That's
What, in the DMs?
But then she did do that disclaimer where it's like, oh, I might come across as a pick-me, which I personally don't feel like she comes across
No, I'm
as a
asking, do
pick-me.
you believe that? Do you think she comes across as a pick-me?
I
Emily,
can see why
again, don't
someone
be
would say
offended.
that.
I'm just trying to.
I could see why someone would
Oh, is
say
it?
that, yeah.
Why?
Because of what she says sometimes.
Yeah.
And how she, I guess, gives grace to certain ideals from the man's
Of course.
gaze.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I could understand it, but then I think because she's a how can I put it, quite a worldly person in thought,
Yeah.
and she's quite independent in thought, so she doesn't
Exactly.
necessarily
Jump on
align with
bandwagons.
status quo.
Yeah.
So often when women don't align with status quo, they are generally labeled as pick me, which is very lazy, to be honest.
I think so
but-
too. And
Yeah.
that's the same brush that Zizi is often painted with as well.
Mhm.
Because when you don't agree with the masses, as in the female masses,
Mhm.
you get labeled a pick-me
Yeah.
because you're agreeing with men or lobbying with men.
Mhm.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, Emily's not from London.
But then everyone is. But that's my issue in a lot of spaces, that everyone has different experiences.
Yeah.
Like you've heard me say it many times, and I'll continue to say it. It's not a
Yeah.
group assignment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So when people say, "Oh yeah, you're this and you're that," I'm like, but don't you want to have your own individual experience
Yeah.
in life?
Exactly.
Because you don't want to be sitting with somebody and you've copied the exact same thing they've done.
Mhm.
So you've got nothing to
Mm.
kind of even learn from or kind of grow from.
Yeah.
Also, Emily's style is to kind of let people bear their mind. Do you understand? So she knows Bilal, and she knows full well that people are listening,
Mm.
and she knows that he's good for content.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she wouldn't now look to jump on him and
Yes.
be aggressive.
Yeah.
Even in her approach, she would be like, have you considered this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
considered this?
Yeah. I know it's interesting still because the first time Bilal came here, I didn't leave thinking, oh, he's got like toxic opinions.
Really?
Not really.
Mm.
But this time, after hearing people's, opinions on it, I listened back to a
So
bit of it.
why didn't... Is it because he was only talking about having sex with midgets?
I think it's what? Yeah. 'cause
Pardon?
remember,
Okay, can we just call them little people?
So
please?
basically-
Sorry,
Because
little
the
the
people.
first time he
I
came,
apologize.
I think because the topic was centered around, kinks and whatnot,
Yeah.
I never got to see that side of him.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because he, he's quite intelligent, well read, So when he came last episode, even though he was saying certain things, I wasn't taking it as. I took it more as he's kind of stuck in a old school Nigerian mentality. Because remember, he kept referencing
back
home all the time.
Back home. Yeah.
Nigerian women, and I felt like he kept using the fact that I'm Nigerian to try to make me agree with everything.
Exactly.
I need to go back and
but I didn't notice that until
Yeah.
I listened back. This guy was really trying to use that like against me and for him. I'm trying to say, but listen, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Man,
So people said that Emily's a pick me.
So what were the main comments?
You're still stuck in that.
Like, what were the comments that stood out for you for the last episode?
You could read the ones that you received personally as well.
Oh yeah.
The ones that we didn't get.
It wasn't. Thing is, no one really spoke to him directly. It wasn't like, oh, Bilal this, that. It's just more so, hold on, let me find a few.
There was one that was said, normally I have loads to say, but I'm gonna hold my mouth today.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Serious?
I can't remember her name now because that one stood out.
I guess
To me, and I was
Aircon.
like, oh, I need to go back and listen.
Aircon.
Oh, cool.
I need to go back and listen because I was like, wow, okay, this is not normally so.
I don't know. I didn't really see anything that was as shocking with what he had to say. I think for me, I just saw it as, yeah, he sounds like quite a lot of uncles that I know. And I was just used to it. And I was just like, oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not surprised that he has that kind of view.
All right, I'll read out some tweets, innit? The funny thing is, as well as there being a few negative tweets, there were people that saying this episode was sick, proper interesting. I loved the conversation.
Yeah.
So it was double-sided.
Female? Oh, sorry. Women.
Male, both.
Oh.
So someone said, I'm really enjoying this conversation on this week's episode. As controversial as some of Bilal's points are, I agree with a few. And that's coming from a guy. Brent went full Brent mode in this episode.
Oh, I was mentioned?
Yeah.
Bad?
No, he said that you went full Brent mode.
Okay.
So wherever Brent mode is.
Exactly.
I have now opened my notes on my phone just on topics I want to give my opinion on. This was such an interesting discussion, but Emily is flip-floppy. I wish there was a different female perspective there.
I don't understand what they meant by that flip-floppy.
Because sometimes, in certain subjects, women want a woman to hold a man and kind of stick on him, and then even just make sure that they get a clear understanding of what they're trying to say. And sometimes when a woman is not necessarily given a clear identity, I'm here.
Okay.
It's often seen as your flip-floppy and you're leaning towards the guy side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get that from Emily. And again, because I guess I know Emily and I know how she forms an argument and how she doesn't look to be antagonistic or aggressive in her approach.
If a podcast is going to talk about very well-researched structural issues such as patriarchy, they should come with basic knowledge on which to build their personal view. I think that was referring to when Bilal was like, I think you said to Bilal...
Misandry. When he mentioned misandry, said, tell the audience what misandry means. Okay, Google.
It's easy to say, why doesn't the listener do their Googles? But that also applies to the hosts. Women wanting you to be a decent human being who doesn't harm and abuse others is the bare minimum in capitals. The misogyny and more so the misogyner in this ep is, and they put like a face.
Is that misogynoir?
No, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry, misogynoir. Is that French? Yeah, I'm going to save a lot of my comments on this episode because it's not every day. Again, the little confused face. What I will say is I'm very happy Brent was there to do what Brent does. LOL. He definitely highlighted stupid things that was said without outrightly calling them stupid.
Thanks, babes.
Then here's a little bit of a role play. Bilal said the stigma that men only want women for sex. Brent said, do you like to spend more time with your boys than with your girl? And Bilal says, I feel I grow more from being with men. I love when women want to cook for me and I like sex, but I prefer to chill with men.
Yeah, it didn't come in that sequence though.
No.
Yeah.
At first, when I read it, I thought she was doing
like a script for
but it
script,
wasn't.
but I think she's...
When Bilal said that though, I had a raised eyebrow when he kind of referenced that. It was, I think you kind of asked him what he wanted from a woman and he only really mentioned someone to cook for him and to have sex with. And I was like, I'm gonna stay out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the ones that were public. The pick me one was actually my DMs, but yeah, I won't delve into those.
That's interesting. I need to listen back.
Yeah.
I want to hear Brent on Brent mode.
I don't know what that means, to be honest.
No, I know what it means.
I know what it means.
No, the thing
I
is,
think
it's a good thing.
you were basically picking holes in some of his statements.
Oh, is that what it means?
Yeah. No, sometimes I think what you do, you ask particular questions so a person can elaborate further so we can get a better understanding of somewhere where they're going. Because sometimes if you leave a statement, people are like unsure, but you add a bit of clarity or, you know, question, which I think is necessary because sometimes it helps people understand and have a bit further, like, oh, okay. And I never thought of it. If the person's able to elaborate and articulate itself well enough. If they're not, then
I hear that.
they crash and burn.
I hear that. I love you too. So, question, what's your name again?
Heroine.
So, what did you think of Bilal? What was your take on him?
I didn't have much of a take on him. I'm sorry, Bilal, I don't know who you are, but it's not somebody that I would... he's somebody that I would stay away from. Let's say that. It's a nice thing to say, right? Okay. Somebody that I would preferably stay away from is definitely not the kind of mindset that I would like my partner to have, nor my sons to have in the future, that's for sure. So, yeah.
Okay.
But I understand where he's come from because he was born in a particular place and they have particular beliefs, and I guess women are seen as what it is he believes women to be. So I can't be angry at him. I am mad at you, bro. But yeah. I mean, he said that he's been here since the age of 15?
Around that, I think.
I mean, and he's how old now?
I can't remember how old he is.
45.
40.
But then
I mean, he's old
I think
enough.
he's in his 30s, right?
But then,
Yeah.
you say old enough, but if you are someone that is very attached to your heritage and your home,
Which he is,
which he is, and he references
he's very attached.
home a lot. So
Yes.
his ideals and his way of living is very much probably still attached to that, and he probably is someone that goes back often enough that that's part of his identity.
I guess so.
And he's just
what
and
can
he's
we
here.
say is what it is, isn't it? With people like that, you can't
really.
You can't be mad at them if that makes sense, because you know. Because to me, it's like, you've been in the country for this long now. So I'm sure you've got friends, male friends, female friends that have said, no, this is how we live,
Yeah.
And you just decided that, no, you chose that I'm not going to go with what you guys are saying. I'm going to stick to this way. And I like this way. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's his prerogative, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't
Exactly.
have
Do you
to
think?
conform to...
No,
go on.
You see that there are men who have that thought process, and the whole. I'm gonna add two things together. But women are saying, my partner's abroad.
My partner's abroad?
Yeah, my market's abroad.
Okay.
Do you feel like there may be a clash later when, when there's men of this mindset and women are kind of going abroad and meeting these men? Like, like first they're fulfilling the first need that women say that the London men and whatever don't do. And then when they get over there, then they actually get into the reality of that mindset of, I know I was spending money.
Exactly.
But,
for real.
This is what I require.
What it is.
But
exactly.
I think it is a case of the men abroad who, these women are saying, that's my market. Because they're spending the money, the women are willing to do these things. Whereas they're saying that the men in London don't spend the money.
So they're not.
They don't give us soft life.
So is that the only reason why women are going for men who are from abroad, simply because of the money aspect of things?
From the convos I've had with women who say, yes, my market is abroad, it's normally to do with chivalry, how the men treat them, gifts, the way they, money is a big aspect of it as well. So I reckon they're willing to then compromise and do things that they may not want to do, or may do more of what is required of them, in a typical African kind of, culture, I would say. as opposed to guys here who don't really live by that creed.
I guess so.
I just thought about it. I thought, right, like once you've gone apart, because the dating part is the magic part. Obviously, you should still date your partner when you actually have them. Let me just make that clear. But sometimes people do the magical part of dating and splashing. And I'm just wondering, once you go past that point and they're like, oh yeah, this is great. Now we're settled.
Yeah,
I would like fish on Sundays.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of people. I feel like people don't actually get to that point of experiencing that.
Okay.
I think because we're such in I want what she has from that 30-second reel that you saw.
Yeah.
And it comes across as though it's like, the perfect life, Okay, yeah, I went on holiday for a week, 7 days. He spent this amount of money on me for that week. It's got to be like that for the next 30 years of my marriage with him. When really in reality, it's not going to be like that at all. I think we love the idea of things, but the reality is that nigga is not going to do that forever. That makes sense.
30 years. Yeah, the bread has to be long, boy.
Do you know what I mean? I think we like the idea of things. And I think I'm probably guilty of it as well sometimes, where I was like, I'm seeing something, I'm like, oh, this would be so amazing. And then no, what am I saying? Because then like the reality of it is no, there's got to be days off. There's going to be bad days. There's going to be days where he's going to be frustrated with you. And yes, maybe he was gassed by you because London babe, she's here for 7 days. Let me really show her about the living, the life. And then she's gone after 7 days. I don't have to then spend my money on her anymore. But now imagine you're living with him 24/7. Even try it for a month. It's probably not going to last long.
Yeah.
I
don't know. From the women I've spoken to about this kind of thing, I'm assuming, because I feel like I'm talking to women of sound mind and judgment, that the relationships they form with these guys are not based upon money. Money is just a perk.
It is.
So
but do these relationships ever actually last?
Well, do relationships last full stop?
They don't.
I know.
I mean, like, regardless of this type of relationship, do relationships last
I think
full
they
stop?
do, but I think it comes down to kind of understanding that there's loads of minerals that for a relationship to last.
Yeah.
So I think once people get past that part, because at the end of the day, for you to have a long relationship, you have to be able to do life with them and do the mundane things, paying bills, having a routine, and looking across at them and think, this is me. And not thinking, right, like, because where's the excitement? Because you can't have excitement all the time.
Yeah. To be fair, this leads on to, there's two things I want to touch on. Let's circle back for a second. So Kojo, obviously.
Sorry, God. Okay.
Obviously, we're just talking about, the apparent misogynist on our podcast last week. But, shout out to Bella. And the time of the episode was obviously that just for insight. The episode with Bilal was recorded a week in advance. So when it landed, I was like, we just had the Kojo thing, and now this coming out. It's like, this is this is bad timing. But yeah, it was recorded a week in advance, to be fair. So we didn't see that coming. But yeah, let's delve into this Kojo situation a little bit, because it was a hot topic.
It really was.
For a couple of days. So a video came out where Kojo is basically describing a holiday he had in Dubai, where an apparent friend of his, he believes, was using his friends. So Kojo was there with another guy who has money, whatever. And Kojo believed that one of his friends was trying to finagle and boops his friend, And then he said it on his pod, and then the girl responded, basically, and she said what she said. She dragged him for a couple of days.
I mean, the way he did retell that story was quite.
And then another clip came out where he said something to the degree of, if a woman, we might have to play it just so I'm not misquoting him. If a woman's not, don't spend your money on a woman if she's not. What do you say? What do you say? Because I don't want to say it.
What if she isn't gonna have sex with you?
Yeah,
something to that degree.
Something along those lines.
Hold on, I'm gonna try to find it.
Yeah. Well, if I'm spending money, basically, you should be giving.
I'm sure it was in our group, innit?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw it, I was like, this is sticky. This is.
Hold on, let me try and find this.
This is behavior that I cannot subscribe to or condone. I was just like, wow, okay. 2021. Is this where we're at?
This is where we're at.
I think this is the one. Is this the one? Oh, the video's on private, bro.
Yeah. Got changed to private. You got to change to private. It's still there, but it's on private. But
You know, I think it was
Along the lines.
of if a woman's not gonna don't spend money on a woman unless you know she's gonna sleep with you.
Yeah.
That was basically the premise, right?
yeah,
And
That's
then
a lot,
on the flip side, it was he said something to do with what did he say, man?
I said don't go on dates if you're not gonna sleep with him.
Hold on, I gotta find it.
'Cause-
Oh yeah, well, yeah. If you're not interested in the guy and you know you're not going to sleep with him, don't go out on a date with him.
Hey.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, that was it.
I remember hearing that one as well. And funny enough, I had a friend tell me exactly the same thing too.
A friend said that to you as
Yeah,
in,
a male friend said that to me. I was like,
Well, so people don't
I'm
like.
going out on a date with this guy, and I've got a feeling that he's coming across quite like sex hungry, but I don't want to have sex with him. And he was like, don't go out on a date with him. But I think he's really cool. Like, I'd like to get to know him. Don't get out on a date with
I
him
think
if you think you're not gonna if you don't want to have sex with him.
but I think that advice
Do you
was
think
given
so?
to you because you said to him that he's
I don't
given
wanna
he's
have-
given no that
No,
he's
he's-
given
Oh,
across
okay.
Yeah, because
sex hungry vibes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's probably why he said it to you. No,
yeah, because as a friend, he's thinking. You heard you say you're going on a date. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Then he's heard
I think
you
I'm-
say
Yeah.
he's
I think I found
quiet.
it.
He's
I think I found it. 1 second.
Don't go on a date with him.
There you go.
Any date. A woman shouldn't be on a date. If you don't want to fuck this man, don't go on a date. with him.
Yeah, facts.
If you don't want to fuck him, don't go on a date with him, bro. If you don't want to if you want to sleep with this woman, spend your bread or shut your mouth.
Mm.
Don't go there and not have no paper and expect something.
Mm.
No one should expect anything from that person. Now, someone goes, yeah, but money and body is different. No, that's nice, no. It's about what's important to me,
Mhm.
what's important to you. Because making money, first of all, is not easy.
Mm.
Making money is not easy. Making a large amount of money is even harder.
Mhm.
So if you're sitting across a man who's earning money, right? What are you giving him? Fuck your time and because I don't know. The only thing that you can actually give him is what he wants.
It's funny how all his co-hosts were kind of quiet when he was. You know, he was looking around the room for like people to agree.
You
Nah.
know?
So yeah,
I mean,
that was kind of mad still.
That's quite heavy.
that was one of them ones where someone said something and everyone was like, "So what's going on?"
Yeah.
What pissed him off that day? What possessed him to come online and say that and actually, you know, because that wasn't live. Like, you know what I mean, he pre-recorded it.
Yeah.
Probably
slapped it
went
on.
on a date with a lady and
Slapped
he
it on
didn't
her.
get what he wanted and he's offended that he spent money on her and she didn't off the pants.
But money doesn't equal pants.
Yeah,
Well,
he
Kojo,
obviously
it does.
Kojo sees
Clearly.
things as transactional. Then, Like,
Yes.
that's the way he looks at it,
Mm.
which is wrong.
So a date must end in front. I'm just here like
I mean, as the males in the room.
no, because you know what it is.
Please enlighten me.
No, you know what it is for
Because I
me.
feel like a lot of people probably do feel that
Some
way.
probably
think
do.
so?
I mean, or believe that,
Well,
you
that-
know, as in like,
Well, that dates equal sex.
if I
Dates
get
equal sex.
something at the end of this.
No,
No, it shouldn't be.
I
like
think
that.
you go into a date knowing what stage this relationship is at
Mhm.
and whether or not sex is on the cards, and you should be able to have the conversation. I don't think you should be there on a psychic thing, thinking, oh,
not even that. You're not even on. You're on a date. Like, okay, we're at this restaurant.
Mhm.
She ordered this.
Exactly.
She ordered this. That seems like the fucking side of the menu. So after we finish, you know what time it is. That's what that's what it's translating to me in my head. Like very much, you go on a date. He said, "Spend your bread." So that means
but who are you going on a date with though? Someone you haven't really, spent time getting to know? Is this someone new? Because I don't understand how you go on a date with a woman and you in your head you're thinking the whole time, oh, I wonder if we're gonna have sex today, or she ordered that, or that means we're fucking, or like why is that running? Why are those thoughts running through your mind?
No, but in my head,
Yeah, go on.
that's what it may be. Like as I'm trying to understand, because I've like you go on a date to get to know somebody, to
Yeah.
enjoy their company,
Yeah.
and you go and understand if you're on the same page for whatever reason that you sort of got together. But it's never transactional. But it's
No, of
also
course not.
what it also highlights is that you don't get people that like you for you, because you feel like you're obligated to spend
Mm.
to get back.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird because humans meet, people go to the coffee shop and exchange and have good conversations. And some of them, I'm sure, lead to having coitus, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not part of a. It's like basically all I'll say is not part of a male understanding that I spend to get sex.
Of course not. And also, I think he probably lacks like having real rapport
I mean, that was something the influencer did
and
mention.
understanding with the person he's
from
on a
their
date
Dubai
with.
trip.
Because I don't understand how you're on a date with someone and you're thinking like you're thinking, okay, cool. If I spend X amount of money, we have to have sex.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
why
because what
is
you said
that
came from the
even
heart, as
a
in
facet of
something that
your
happens to
dynamic
him
with this
on a
person?
regular
You know what I mean?
basis, and he was hurt.
But we understand that culture, right? Because it exists on social media. Then you have sugar daddies, right?
What I mean is, you're going into it transactional then. So
This is what I'm
that
saying.
means Kojo, if it's transactional for him, he should go into it knowing
But you also
that
have
this is a transaction.
uncles who believe once I put this on your table, I'm expecting some play. If it is you're not giving me play,
but does he?
I'm not interested.
Therefore, okay, cool.
It's his mindset.
But does he know who he's on a date with? That's. I think if he's expecting sex after the date because he spent X amount of money, and he doesn't get it, then you don't know who you're on a date with. then, clearly, because this is not the type of girl who's going to fuck you.
Yeah,
because
he must have just assumed that.
Yeah,
that was the,
you've assumed that this is the type of girl. Again, because you haven't communicated, you haven't built no rapport, no understanding between you two, because you think she is someone that she's not.
Yeah, you said something that's very key. I think in general, people don't understand that rapport is key to everything.
Yeah.
Relationships, friendships, even like, you know, like, have you ever had someone talk to you, like ask you a question, you're like, hold on, we got no rapport. What's going on here? How did you go so left field?
Yeah.
So on a basis, you should have rapport with people. When you go on a date, you should have some. I get it. The date's a wow. Like you go on a date, you want to dress up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But what people are not understanding is that you should build some rapport with that person beforehand.
Yeah.
So before you get to the date, you understand who they are, what kind of vibe they're at.
Yeah.
And then when you get there, you see if that vibe continues in person.
And also who is this person to you? Like, it's because like, what's your objective with the person? Is she, because clearly she's not someone you're pursuing to be in a relationship with. Clearly not.
Yeah.
Because that wouldn't be your stance.
Yeah.
If it's just someone who you want to have sex with, then in my eyes, why haven't you spoke about that prior? If this is someone you just want to have sex with, that should be a conversation. I'm not going on a date with someone who I just want to fuck on a hit and hope. Like let's go on a date. What I'll do is have sex. Let me take her to Nobu and just, you know, she must sleep with me because I spent X amount of money. That makes no sense to me.
Because your brain doesn't work like that. Mine doesn't either. I'm confused because I'm like, as we've grown older, and even just sometimes like you might want to go on a date just for company.
Yeah.
I want to go to this nice place. I want to try out. Do you want to come?
Yeah.
I think like this would be a sort of place you'd enjoy. We can enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
And we'll just go and then come back. That's it. It's not really as you said, if you want to engage with sex with somebody, why don't you have the conversation? That doesn't have to be the premise based on what I spend equals. If that's the case.
So you're saying you don't even need to reach in your pocket, is what you're saying?
I'm saying
if it's a sex thing, then you don't even have to go on.
No, you shouldn't. Because we're adults. You have a conversation. If there's a sexual attraction and it's very clear, you'd have the conversation, and then that person will agree or not agree.
Yeah, which is why I find it so flipping wild, because money didn't need to be involved at all. Yet he decided to place into that transaction.
Yeah, that's the thing. It didn't have to be transactional, because he could have just asked her or to have a conversation with her, not just assume that he had to do this to get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Why is he so frustrated?
That's what I'm saying. So he's experienced it on
I was
multiple
telling
occasions, and it's not working for him.
I was like, this story has to be true. The story about the Dubai. I'm thinking he's telling the story with too much vim for it to be a lie.
Yeah,
the vim he was telling the story, I thought, but the way the girl came and cleared him, I thought, okay, he's lying.
Yeah, but you know what? Really, like the one thing I really wanted, you see the language, like you was said, but buffoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't understand that kind of.
Call someone a buffoon?
Yeah.
He kept on referring to her as a buffoon.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
On his podcast?
So buffoon over here was da-da-da-da-da-da. And then buffoon.
And also, I don't think her, from what he described, even though he's told it with a lot of vim, her actions to me weren't
egregious. They weren't
that bad for him to call her buffoon anyway.
Of course, you're tuned in to Meet Us After 7. Right now, it's time for a word from our sponsor. All right, it only makes sense that Man Cave done partnered up with Manscaped. So let me paint a picture for you right now. I know it's hard for you to shave your giggle stick and 2 berries, but imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. Now, me, I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0. That's not not deuce, not trace, but quatre. Bruv, bilingual thing, you understand? And I'm blown away by this performance. The craftsmanship details of the 4.0 are next level. Listen, I'm old school. Anybody that knows me, I used to shave my joint with the old school razor joint. You know the orange one, T-shaped, sans serif, Bic. That's it. That you get from the off license. Listen, one time I was doing my little, a little junior. I ski. I said, what the hell? Da 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 da. No way. Talking about now. Mom was like, what's that going down there? I said, mind your business, mama. That's all. Just mind your business, bruv. But anyway, I'm back. I'm healed. And trust me, that's thanks to Manscaped engineering the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade that's that's the to reduce grooming accidents like I done told you. Thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, I now feel way confident shaving my boys. And obviously, we're going to nice you with a 20% off and free shipping if you use the code MUA7 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com, MUA7. Now, Dan, man, them, unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. You heard me?
She was just, well, if we're going off what he said was true, just to say they were true. She was just a girl who was trying to, finesse the thing. It wasn't like an egregious crime. And again, it wasn't even his money.
Was she trying to finesse?
I don't really
The
feel
thing
like
is, what he was
describing.
describing was very petty stuff. Like, okay, cool. She arrived at the hotel. He called his friend to come downstairs, and when he got downstairs, she asked him to pay for his cab. Like little things like that.
Mm.
Or one day he came back to the hotel and she was sleeping on in the balcony of his friend's apartment. It was just little things like that. And I think, was it the table story he told?
There was a table story, but the table story didn't make sense.
What's the table story again?
I don't know, something about like...
Because there was 2 of them, right?
I think-
There's 2 girls,
Yeah.
her and her friend.
I think her and her friend went
got
and
the table.
joined them at a club and got a table next to them, but then told Kojo and my man, the table's going to cost
So
XYZ. Like, are you going to pay for the table first? I think that was
the story, but then they said they pay for their own. So to be honest, the story doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But to me, Brent, me personally, the buffoon. When you talk about a woman, I'm like, that's a lot of that's quite derogatory and it's a lot of vim for a random lady you might call you. It's not even a random. You're saying this person's your friend.
And she featured on the podcast.
Yeah, someone that's your friend.
Yeah.
You then don't call them such a derogatory word because and it with so much vim. Yes, I get it. We can all be descriptive, but if you understand words, those words are not really, especially with a woman. It's like, how did we get here?
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel like this is okay?
And did he think that she wasn't going to see it?
That's what I'm saying. He knew she was going to watch it.
Didn't he want her to see it by putting it up?
So do you think he done this to just generate traction for his podcast?
Maybe, but somebody said, okay, yeah, he just used her that story for content. I get it. I hear that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it because how it was executed was really poor.
Do you think he saw this backlash?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think he's like whatever with it?
Probably. I think he's got a special coming up.
I think it's called Don't Cancel.
Don't Cancel.
Do you think some people are willing to put their, I don't know what to call it, their person on the line? Like, okay, cool. I'm willing to get cancelled, to be dragged online, to be ridiculed for the sake of clout or just to gain some traction on our pod.
Because there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Because do you think you pull it out there thinking, you know what, this story's not going to reach her. Fuck it, I'm just going to use it for content.
But
Or
he knew
did he
definitely
think,
it was going
or
to
did he
reach
think,
her.
I'm going to pull it out there and I want this shit to just go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, some people don't really fear the public.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like, this is not real. As long as people are talking about me, I'm gonna get to
Yeah.
get the traction.
And it's convenient that he has a show that's coming up as well.
And his, did you see his apology
Perfect
video?
timing.
Nah, I didn't even see it.
Oh yeah, I did.
What was it?
Why, his voice always been that high or that croaky. His voice was weird.
Yeah.
His voice was very croaky, and he had the red eye as well. I don't know.
He looked like he was quite like he'd been crying or something. I felt like he
Yeah,
was,
he was
quite
either sick.
emotional.
He's either sick or just finished crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't really an apology because he did say me and the girl knows exactly what happened on that holiday.
Yeah.
And she knows that what I was telling was the truth.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe the choice of words that I'd used were not the right words. And I apologize for that. But my versions of events was not lies.
Listen, who knows the truth? Innit? There's his story, her story.
And the truth.
I reckon they're both probably telling some truth and both probably lying at some parts.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there's the real story. We'll never find out.
Yeah.
It's not.
Huh?
I guess
Nah,
not.
Yeah.
but yeah, man, I just
But the other stuff about the date stuff,
Yeah. That's quite scary.
Like,
I mean, as a
reduce
girl
it.
watching it, it kind of makes you feel a bit like, oh, F this dating thing then. Because, I mean, if this is what,
Yeah.
if somebody of such, he's got a platform, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, he's verified, he's been on this show, etc., etc. And then for him to so comfortably say how he feels, there are thousands of men who also agree with what he's saying, and I might bump into one of them one day. Do you know what I mean? And they're gonna ask me out on a date.
Yeah, no, there's,
And then
there's
so
definitely
many
men who
people
agree with
put
him,
up
for sure.
a particular facade when you're getting to prison. Not everybody's going to be like, hey, can I have your number? Okay, so we're going out on a date, and if I pass over 50 pounds on you, you're going to have sex with me. Like, no one says that on the first, do you know what I mean?
That sounds even wild.
Yeah, no one says that.
Do you know what I
but
mean?
there's definitely men out there.
You're just thinking like,
with that
wow, this
mentality.
guy's mad cool. Like, you know, we're getting along. This rapport, this, you know. And then
No, but that's
you go on this date and he's expecting you to have sex with him.
But you know what? You said
What do you
something.
do then?
When you said that, and you said as a woman, you saw that, you're like, wow, is that how someone... But
Yeah.
then what I did see was quite a very big outrage from men. Was like, whoa, bro, that's...
It's a bit, yeah.
There was loads
It
of...
is quite comforting.
There was
to see
loads of
that.
guys on the platform like, yo, what's going on? And then you see Charlie...
Listen,
Ah.
Charlie Mace is an absolute star. Shout out to
He
Charlie.
is the best.
His reactions to things are hilarious.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It was perfect. Like,
Yeah.
we don't,
really
big
was.
man, we don't agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, you are on your own lane with this one. Like,
And it's sad though that he has, what is it? There's four of them in total,
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
it? There's never really anyone that disagrees with him still. Like, no one actually says, yo, bro,
Yeah.
chill. Like, or even tries to, like, you know, challenge him on
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
opinions.
yeah.
Everyone's just like, yeah.
And then that led to
Cool
the
story, bro.
whole, is it defund male,
Male
podcast?
podcast.
I'm so done.
Yeah.
What, as in, because you guys don't go therapy?
No, so basically on Twitter,
Yeah.
I think it was the same day or the next day, people were saying how, you know, this is why men shouldn't have podcasts.
Yeah.
And that,
Because apparently you guys use your podcast as your
and
therapy
that,
sessions.
you know, all male podcasts are very misogynistic, chauvinistic, toxic, da. So yeah, that was kind of like the topic
Yeah.
on Twitter that day, innit? That, you know, mentioned.
I mean, have opinions, you know? It's
Yeah.
cool. Like, I understand that you guys all have, you know, all come from different walks of
Yeah.
life. You all believe in certain things. But, you know, just check each other, you know? When somebody goes a bit further than they need
Yeah.
to, just be like, yo, bro.
I wonder
you need
if
to
any of
reel
those
it back
other
a little bit.
three in the room at the time, because no one seemed to really agree, disagree, or anything. They just kind of like, you know, listened and, you know, nodded their heads.
I mean, when you're not saying anything, it's almost like you're agreeing with the thing, isn't it?
I
Like,
personally think that they didn't agree with him, but they just didn't.
it's like they're scared to say.
I won't even say scared. They just didn't care to challenge him.
Approach it in any way. And you know what's really interesting when you talk about the whole... One thing, like, when you talk about male podcasts,
Yeah,
I get it. Some women don't like men that talk, but then they want men to talk, which is very contradictory because women say, oh, men don't open up, blah, blah, blah.
women,
It's-
the most confusing case known
But
to mankind.
one thing I think people realize is that there are different types of podcasts that you know, you can get different information from
Yeah.
that have male leads on them,
Mhm.
and you shouldn't necessarily be turned off by one particular
Of course.
because if that was the case, I've heard some very simple opinions from women, which doesn't put me off. Women doesn't make me feel women should have their spaces. Also, when there's a serious subject and a sensitive subject, there is people that tend to follow these subjects or want to be very vocal on these subjects under the guise of their own particular agendas about, example, like male podcasts. There's some people that were, oh yeah, this is why there should be male podcasts because they have their own issues with men in general.
Yeah.
And it's very apparent.
Yes.
And I don't think that people should, and obviously in the height of emotions, people tend to, but we need to take caution and understand that, yes, this is bad. Yes, people actually condemned it and said, yo, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be when it comes to subjects. Even if there was a woman that says something wild, someone should be like, yo, I don't think that's okay. And we're not going to all lambast women and say, because sometimes it's really tiring when we're doing this whole men versus women, because we learn from each other. But generally, we're doing this back and forth. Where's the growth?
Men versus women is the fakest fight
in life
I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
It's the fakest fight because we are the only two genders in this world. Like, that's it. It's just me and you, babes.
You know?
It's just us.
It's just us.
But yet, we fight each other all the time, but we're still with each other. You know what I mean? It's
You know what's weird?
It's very funny.
I feel like, see, online,
Yeah.
it's apparent. But in person, it really doesn't exist that
It doesn't
much.
really exist.
Like
no.
people...
No, it doesn't, because people rarely have conflict in dialogue in person. Like,
100%.
where are you going to meet up? Like, I'm not going to buck a girl at an event and start arguing with her about, gender roles. So it's only, Twitter, where that's a platform for people to just spew their opinions. That's where it happens. That's the battlefield.
No, it's true.
Real life isn't the battlefield. Real life is all about relationships,
of course,
dating, courtship, sex,
compromise, understanding. I think there's so much more.
I do feel a part of me is thinking, I don't want to use the word agenda, but a part of me feels like it's part of something, right? Because obviously, apparently, we're overpopulated, right? And they're trying to stop people from having children. I know I sound crazy, but maybe this is part of it, where it's the more you guys are against each other, the better for us, whoever us is, right? That you guys don't get together, you guys then don't procreate.
No, but people still get together. Listen, I see people get married and engage on Instagram every day.
Yeah. And the thing is, some of the people that are leading the fight, the so-called fight, in person, they're holding hands with their
don't get me started, bro.
Other, and you're like, you,
yes, bitch,
living happily.
So you talking about the white man wanting us?
I don't know whether it's the white man, the black man, whatever, whoever man.
This is a big conspiracy theory.
This is a very big one.
But
I do feel like there is something there. Maybe it's spiritual. Maybe it's just flesh or whatever. But there is something that's working towards us being against each other, for sure.
Maybe, like, you see, even just the fact of the constant division means that people are not necessarily collaborating and actually building better futures.
Yeah.
If they buy into this, women are all bad, men are all bad, and it's like, okay, it takes you longer to get together if you are trapped online.
Yeah.
Because we spend a lot more time online. And these are spaces. So you find that then people will start pushing whatever agenda they have. You see it in spaces. And this is why also we have phrases like "pick me" have come out of this men versus women. This is it's either you're with us or you're against us. It's a child of it, basically, of the whole thing. And then like even just like you get men now wanting to be even more toxic because they feel like this is what we need to do to win this. Like sometimes I honestly think when men are going against women all the time, I'm like, bro, just leave the women alone. Like, not every day argue with women.
Yeah, I don't personally don't understand men who attack women online. I just don't understand.
Just don't argue with women. Sometimes, not to be rude, but just ignore. Like sometimes women like to talk. Women like to debate on things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to say, is it worth it? And does this benefit long term, if I'm going back
Either
and
of us.
forth
Yeah,
about things that I actually don't care about,
for real.
like generally, there's a lot of things that I see men argue about with women. I don't know, bro. Why do you care?
Yeah.
Like, why do you care? Oh, there's no good women. There's loads.
Then the person you should be arguing with is your other.
Yes, even then, you
Your
still
partner or the person you're pursuing. That should be your dialogue.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be spreading your agenda to the masses
To
online.
everybody, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense for you in the long term. That can imagine you're seen online as a guy that goes back and forth with women consistently. How does that even?
That is a terrible.
Your market is looking bad because women are like,
No, listen.
TV at all.
he likes to chat a lot to women and talk bad about them. And yeah, if you feel like, I don't care, but you're rebellious to what point? I don't know if you saw the Britney Renner interview with Kevin Samuels. Anyone see it?
No.
It was a great interview. I
Can
don't know. I
imagine.
just randomly watched it. Basically, because you know how she's known to be quite wild and
Yes.
quite combative. And he approached it like the older gentleman. He just sat there. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna hear you out. You
Yeah.
love it. Because he was asking questions like, so okay, I get it. You're a rebel. To what end? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
Because who do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? She said, I don't know. Then she said Wendy Williams at first. He was so taken. Like, Wendy Williams? They go, out of all the women that there are that are doing things,
Yeah.
you want to be Wendy Williams. Do you realize she's a very miserable woman? Like this. Then she said Oprah, and he goes, okay. He goes, so what are you doing with this? Like you're like also you got to be responsible that you're in the 10% of women in America where you have the opportunity to earn more money because of your looks and exposure. So by you being so competitive in certain circles, and you're saying that you're doing this for other women, how do you think you're doing this for other women if they are not in that same space? You're leading them to slaughter, are you not?
I feel you on that one.
And she was like, oh, I didn't really think of it like that. And it was such a because he just